What's up, guys? My name's Cody, and this is another UFC betting breakdown, this time for UFC 259, and we have 3 title fights coming up on this card. We got Jan Blockowicz taking on Israel Adesanya, Amanda Nunes taking on Megan Anderson, and Peter Yan taking on Alderman Sterling. So, this is the best card I've seen in a while, probably going to end up being the best card of the year, and just the best card that we're going to see for a while. Aside from the 3 title fights, you got Islam Makhachev, Drew Dober, Thiago Santos, Alexander Racket, Dominic Cruz, Casey Kenny, Kyler Phillips, Yadong Song, Joseph Benavidez, Askarov, fire fights. So I don't want to waste too much time getting into this. Last week I didn't bet a lot. I did have a little bet on Jimmy Rivera by decision, and I made a little parlay with Ankalaev and Hernandez. So that didn't work out. Didn't like what I saw from Hernandez. I don't know how he thought he won that fight. Jimmy Rivera, his boxing looked clean. He was landing the bigger, better shots with the hands, but man, those calf kicks really ate him up, and just the leg kicks in general. So, didn't really like last week for a betting perspective, but this is a good card. Lots of spots that I'm looking at. And just in general, lots of great fights. So before I waste too much more time, I want to get into this. Make sure you do leave a like on this video. It helps out a lot. I always forget to say that. And leave a comment. Let me know what bets you like or who you like in the fights in general. Or if, you want to argue a pick with me, I'm always down to do that. So, yeah, leave a comment. My Twitter will be in the caption. You can tweet me there, too. I'm always talking fights. And I will be live for these fights on Saturday. So come through and watch them. I'm always live on Twitch. Well, I'm live every day, but I'm always live for the fights. Before I waste any more time, let's go. We got the first fight of the night. Trevin Jones taking on Mario Batista. And Trevin Jones coming off that. It says a no contest, but it was for weed, so I don't really care about that. He beat Timur Valiev, which was a big shocker. This was pretty crazy upset. He was 4-1 or something. And Valiev almost had him out of there in the first round. Was just crushing him to the body, but Jones showed a lot of heart, stayed in there, caught him with a bit, and Valiev slowed down a little bit. I think he punched himself out a little trying to get him out of there. And then in the second round, you saw Trevin Jones come back, land a big right hook that wobbled him, set him down, and the ref stopped it. Now, could the ref have stopped that fight in the first round and we wouldn't be talking about this right now? It's very possible. He was getting battered in that first round. But, hey, he showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of toughness, came back, got the win. I don't care what that no contest says. And that was the biggest win of his career. If you go down his wins here, it's not a whole lot that stand out. Fighting over at PXC and TFC. Before then, not a whole lot of big wins. And, even when, losing a young Jin Huang, who's 5-3, that was supposed to be an easier fight for him. Losing a 13-10 guy, not too long. Okay, that was a solid 10 fights ago, but I just say that to say, that was the biggest win of his career, and he was not supposed to win that fight, and he's made it as far as he has so far. Just good boxing, good power, good toughness and durability, and this time he's fighting another guy where on paper it's he is going to be out-skilled here. Mario Batista, I like this guy from what I've seen so far. Obviously, we haven't seen a ton, but he knocked out Miles Johns with a flying knee, and he was setting it up the whole fight. It didn't seem sometimes you can see a guy catch somebody with something like that and be a little fluky, but this was you could watch him just setting it up. And his loss coming into this fight, his only loss was to Corey Sandhagen. He got submitted in the first round. Corey Sandhagen, sneaky submissions, and obviously a high-level guy. But obviously you got to give him the same thing I said about Trevin Jones. Hasn't fought a lot of the upper competition. Jin Soo Sun, that's a pretty winnable fight there for his second fight after that Corey Sandhagen fight, which is fair because when Corey Sandhagen's going to be your debut. And then the Miles Johns knockout, that was a good fight. He's got a lot of power, and versatile strikes. Really, he's fighting over the MMA lab. He's going to have other teammates on the card, Kyler Phillips, Casey Kinney, and that camp's known for just having good low kicks, good calf kicks. That a lot of people argue that calf kick came out of that camp. So I mean, I definitely think on paper Mario Batista definitely the rightful favorite. Definitely a guy that I think has the higher ceiling. I think he has a lot of potential in this division, but I wouldn't be shocked, being he's only had 9 fights, when he's going in there against, a tough, scrappy dude with power like Trevin Jones, he could catch him with something. I think Mario Batista is going to be winning the fight, and he's just going to have to stay away from those big shots, because Trevin Jones, as we've seen, he's a tough guy to get out of there. So I got Mario Batista. I think Trevin Jones is tough enough to take it to decision, and I'm going to take Mario Batista by decision, but, if that line keeps getting wider, I'm probably going to stay off of it. I wanted to have a little something, maybe throw him into 2-fighter parlay, because it's just like I do feel like he beats Trevin Jones everywhere. I don't think Trevin Jones is going to be able to come out with like a wrestling-heavy game plan and be able to, even if he could take him down, utilize that for longer than a round. So I just feel like this is probably going to play out on the feet, and Mario Batista, I just feel like just a crisper striker, and I don't know if he'll get him out of there, but I do think he wins. So let's move on to the second fight. We do have 15. We got Uros Medic taking on Elon Cruz. And, early on when Medic first came to the UFC, I was ready to fade this guy because, I don't like betting on these Alaska FC guys, freaking... Even when they do fight somebody with a decent record, like 5-0 here versus 4-0, it's like that 5-0 that guy has. Let's just see. A lot of times it's like 5-0 on other Alaska FC guys. Yeah, look at this: 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, and then finally a guy who had a winning record. Like, Alaska FC is just known for just putting on these absolute squash matches, and that's why, when Medic came in, I was really ready to fade him just off that, because I love fading these Alaska FC guys. I always have to let this be known. I'm from Alaska. I was born in Alaska. So, fun fact. So, I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just the reality. And, but, going into this fight, it's like, you see Medic, he moved over to, he's not fighting at Anchorage, his camp in Anchorage anymore. He's fighting at King's MMA over there. Kelvin Gastelum and those LA guys, a lot of good guys over there in the UFC, and also Rafael Cordero's obviously his coach, but got Ali Abdelaziz as his manager. And I'm sorry, but that is a factor for me. That man knows how to get his clients favorable matchups. And I do think this is a favorable matchup on paper. Elon Cruz, while he's an inch shorter, does have a 7-inch reach advantage, which is pretty crazy. So you would think, he's going to fit in pretty well at lightweight. The crazy thing is, when you go through his fights, he's done most of his fights at featherweight. And I meant to touch on this. Medic used to fight at middleweight. He's fought at middleweight, 170, and now he's coming down to 155. And obviously that's not always an advantage, but especially in these lower level fights, it's like, man, you can see that advantage being brought to fruition a lot more often in these lower level fights. And I don't know, Elon Cruz definitely got the flashier striking. He loves that flying knee, and obviously we didn't work out too well against him in the Spike Carlisle fight. Just got outclassed in that one a little bit. I mean, Spike is a tough guy, and I mean, in that first round, he's as dangerous against anybody. And I mean, when you go down his record a little bit, like, the ground game's been a little bit of an issue. All 3 of his losses have come on the ground, 2 times by submission, and then the elbows from Spike. And do I think Medic's going to go out here and take him down the whole time? No, I don't, but I do think Medic's going to have the grappling advantage if it goes there. I do think if anybody lands the takedowns, it's going to be Medic, and I think Medic can stand with him on the feet and just has more pop in his punches, just a little bit more versatile. And I do think, as much as I've been wanting to fade Medic coming into the UFC, I just feel like this is a pretty favorable matchup. Ali knows what he's doing, and I think Medic will get it done here. I wish I would have got in on it early on when he was like a slight fucking underdog, like plus 110 or some shit. Now he's like minus 165 last time I checked, and I don't know if I want to lay that on a guy from Alaska FC with only 6 fights, but I do feel like on paper he has all the advantages, and I do think he should win this fight. But I'm gonna take Madiq. I'm gonna take him probably by knockout. I think he will get Cruz out of there. Actually, no, I'm gonna go decision. Even though like you go through his fights, he's getting a lot of finishes here. I think this fight could actually go to I think it could go to decision. I mean, if he doesn't get him out of there in that first round, I could see this turn into a little bit of a shit show and him just edging out the 3-rounder. So give me Madiq though. Wouldn't play a prop on that when you got a guy with 6 fights and a guy with 9 fights. But I'm gonna go Madiq and I'm gonna go by decision. Next up, we got Liviana Souza taking on Amanda Lemos, and I like this fight. I mean, honestly, this should be a pretty fun fight. You got Amanda Lemos. She's looked great. Literally, if you can just set aside the Amanda thing and like the fact that I guess you could say like they look not very, but you know, like if they're 2 Brazilian chicks with the name Amanda. But honestly, like I feel like she's like a Walmart version of Amanda, and that's no disrespect. Amanda's the GOAT. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to say she fights like Amanda. Amanda's the fucking GOAT, but like similar style in the sense of, you know, decent ground game, pretty good ground game, decent wrestling, nothing crazy. Not really going out there shooting takedowns, but you could see it growing. I mean, she's already 33, but she has a couple years to grow. But mostly just good boxing, good power in her hands, and likes to come forward, throws big shots. And, you know, she lost to a vet and Leslie Smith. I know Leslie only 9-7, but, I mean, has some good experience. Other than that, you know, obviously she's fought a lower end, Miranda Granger. That was a pretty good win, but Mizuki Inoue, you know, you can't, it's not like you can take a ton from these wins, but, you know, I've liked what I've seen so far from her. And it just stylistically, I feel like she's going to present some problems to Souza, who, you know, has more experience and, you know, beat Ashley Yoder, which was pretty good. You could argue she lost that fight, but it's just, you can see in Souza's, her style, she's got a bit of, like, I like her grappling, but the wrestling isn't there. And you see she gets really desperate sometimes when she can't get the fight to the mat. And obviously she's picked up a lot of wins here with her style, but, you know, she's submitting a lot of these lower-end girls, and I just feel like as she works her way up the division, that lack of wrestling is going to really, like, I don't know if this is the fight, but this might be the fight where we see, like, okay, like, I've liked Liviana, like, I think she's good, but if that wrestling doesn't get better, or if just in general, those takedowns don't get better, she can't get the fight to where she wants it to be. And, I mean, her striking's not awful, but I don't think she can go 3 rounds against Amanda Lemos. And well, it's not that I don't think she could survive 3 rounds, but I think she's going to get pieced up. I think Amanda just keeps this fight on the feet. And I don't know if Liviana's going to be able to bring her to the mat. I mean, not more than, like, once or twice. And Amanda's shown pretty good skills at getting up if she is taken down. But obviously there's a lower-end girls that you're seeing, but it's just, I don't know if Souza's takedowns and her wrestling is going to be enough. And if she can't bring Amanda to the mat, I really feel like she's just going to get peppered and at least lose 2 rounds. So I'm going to take Amanda Lemos. Again, I'm going to take her by decision. I thought about maybe if the line's crazy enough, you take her by knockout, because I do think if Souza gets a little desperate, can't get the fight to the mat, she could start eating some real shots and she could tire out. But overall, I think this fight probably will go to decision. Souza's tough. I don't think she'd get finished. She hasn't been finished yet. So I'm gonna take Amanda Lemos by decision, and let's move on because we have a lot of fights. Next up, we got a fire cut fight. I didn't even mention this at the beginning of the video when I named all the fights I really liked on the card. Well, I really just went in order, like the top 8. But Sean Brady taking on Jake Matthews, and man, this is a really fun fight, honestly. Jake Matthews is coming off beating up friggin' poor Diego Sanchez, and then before that, it's like Emil Meek, Rostam Akman, and And, like, man, you just can't take a whole lot from those 3 wins. And, I mean, when he fought Anthony Rocco Martin, he went into that as a favorite, lost. Then he had 3 other, like, super... I mean, okay, no, 2 of the 3. Because Jing Lang Li, that's a tough fight. That's a good win. That's, like, his best win of his whole career. But other than that, it's like, lose to Andrew Holbrook by decision. And then you got ground and pounded by Kevin Lee. That's not bad. Even though he did go into that fight as a favorite too. People were really high on Jake Matthews when he first got. I remember he got added to UFC 3 the game, like all quick, and people really liked that guy. But Kevin Lee kind of went in there and showed who really was where they were supposed to be. And obviously he's had some setbacks since. But Kevin Lee's a tough fighter. Losing to him is no joke. And I mean, he lost to James Vick when James Vick was still tearing it up. Kind of crazy he fought Wagner Rocha. But, yeah, I mean, going into this fight, man, I just think that, I hate when I do that. Sean Brady, like, they're 2 similar fighters in the sense of, I mean, in some ways not. They both have good wrestling. They both have good grappling. I just feel like Sean Brady's grappling and his wrestling's a little bit better. I feel like, they both have decent cardio, but I feel like Sean Brady's cardio is a little bit better. And they both have good striking, but I feel like Sean Brady's is a little bit better. They both like to mix it up. But I genuinely feel like Sean Brady mixes it up a little bit better. So it's like, I feel like Sean Brady has all the advantages in going into this fight. But the only thing you could say is Jake Matthews, like, he's been around a little longer. Even if he's had some pretty easy matchups in the UFC, like, he's still getting in there under the bright lights, and he has more experience. And, I mean, he's got some decent wins, but, I mean, late Cord McGee, past his prime, obviously. Christian Aguilera, okay, at least he went in there and did exactly what he was supposed to do when you get a big, when you're a big favorite like that. But, yeah, I mean, you go through these wins, I mean, you could definitely say, yeah, Jake Matthews has the better resume. That's true. But, so this is a step up. Like, this is it. Now we're starting to see, because I've been high on Sean Brady. He's made me money in the past. I like this guy. I like watching him fight. He's fun to watch. This is going to be where we find out, like, okay, what's up? Like, how good is Sean Brady? Because obviously you don't get that in the guys that he's been fighting. So I don't really love betting a 2-1 when it's a step up in competition like this. It's just, man, when you look at it on paper, you're like, I really feel like this is one of those fights where it's like, I feel like Sean Brady has advantages everywhere the fight goes. But even though he's a little bit of the older guy by 2 years, it's just that, like, experience and the level of competition. Again, Jake Matthews has had some easy fights, but he's also had some pretty tough fights, man. He fought Kevin Lee. He fought James Vick when James Vick was good. He fought Jing Lang Lee. Like, those 3 guys alone are better than everybody Sean Brady's fought. So, and that's coming from a Sean Brady fan. I like Sean Brady. I also, like, man, I really don't love betting undefeated guys. I'm not going to lie. Undefeated 2-1 favorite, and it's a step up in competition, that always scares me. But, man, I just... that side of me is there, but then at the same time, I'm like, yo, he's got the advantage on the feet. I feel like he's the stronger guy, but the better cardio, with the better grappling, better in the clinch. I mean, I really feel like Sean Brady should take this fight. I just wish the line was a little closer but I to compensate for that piece of me that's like step up a competition, experience, all that shit, which I hate betting against, but I get it. I get why he's the favorite he is because of everything I just laid out. And that's why I do feel like Sean Brady's going to win this fight. Again, I hate to say all these decisions, but, man, I really feel like Jake Matthews is a tough guy to finish. He's a durable guy. Both these guys are durable guys. I think Sean Brady's going to take this, but it's 3 rounds. I think he's going to work a couple takedowns in. I think he's going to... This fight's going to get dirty. Both guys are tough, durable guys. Even if they're not really brawlers, like, they're going to go at a high pace. And I think Sean Brady should be able to get some decent, work done on the ground, land some decent ground and pound. I don't think he'll finish Jake Matthews, but I think he will win a dominant decision. So I'm going to take 29. Well, not dominant in the 30-27, but I think he'll at least win 2 rounds. So, let's go. Sean Brady picking up the first 2 rounds at least and improving to 14-0 by decision. Moving on, we got Carlos Ulberg coming out of New Zealand as well. Kicking off the night for his teammates, and he's taking on Kennedy. Nizinchenko. Yeah, something like that. I literally had it earlier when I was watching the tape and already forgot. So, it is what it is. Carlos, though, this is pretty rare. You see a guy coming into the UFC at 3-0 and even getting a shot at the Contender Series at 2-0. He had a very favorable matchup taking on Bruno Oliveira in his Contender Series fight. Knocked him out in the first round. Obviously got that shot because he's Izzy's teammate. And not just Izzy, but City Kickboxing. You know, they're a hot camp right now. And it's just pretty crazy. I mean, to beat a guy whose record isn't even on here, like won't show his information, that's never a good sign. And then beat one guy by decision who was 2-0. And then you got a shot on Contender Series, knocked some guy out in the first round, and boom, UFC time. Definitely pretty crazy, but you got to take in it. Obviously, has to be said, this guy has a lot of kickboxing experience. Even though, you know, it just says 3 kickboxing pro fights. Like, he's been kickboxing. He's training at a fucking City Kickboxing. He is 30 years old, but, you know, he has... It's not like this is only his 6th time in a combat fight. This dude's been kickboxing for a while, and you can see it. Like, he's got good kicks. He's got good power in his hands, too, like, with all of his strikes. He's not, like, super one-dimensional in his strikes. And the big thing that you see when you watch him is you're just like, okay, the striking's clean, obviously. The kickboxing's clean like everybody out of City Kickboxing. But what's going to happen if he starts getting taken down? And the thing is, he's fighting a guy who's pretty much the same way. Kennedy, good striking, training over at Fortis MMA, another good gym. And, you know, at least he's got some, you know, he's 7-1. He's got more than twice the fights. Obviously hasn't fought anybody super noteworthy yet. Fought Dennis Bryant in the Contender Series, another super favorable fight. And then he went in there against Paul Craig, and, you know, Paul Craig did what he does. He was looking pretty good early in the fight, and then just got a little too comfortable in Paul Craig's guard, and Triangle City, man, that's what he does. Fought Darko Stosiak, and, you know, that was a pretty good win. You can't really, even though obviously, like, hasn't been great for him lately, but, you know, still, like, showing that he's improving, you know, 28 years old, at Fortis MMA, he's gonna keep getting better. But, you know, it's a little troubling that he hasn't fought since 2019, and you know, I think he had like some sort of leg injury or like foot injury, and now he's coming in, he's fighting this guy who's gonna have some good power in his punches, good kickboxing, and I just don't think you can rely on Kennedy to take this dude down, and that's the path to victory, man. You're fighting this guy, he has 3 pro MMA fights, and he's a fucking kickboxer. You gotta take this dude down. Because even his clinch game is going to be pretty decent. You know, he's working that every day. You got to take this guy down. You got to put him on the cage. And I don't really think Kennedy can do that. I think this fight's going to play out on the feet. And I want to say Kennedy would be able to last the end of the fight to a decision. But, man, 15 minutes on the feet with this Carlos Ulberg guy, you know, man, I think that he's going to have a lot of opportunities to land something big, maybe put him away. I don't know. I like what I've seen from him already. Experience is super big for me, so you don't ever see me betting a 3-0 guy. I won't be starting that tonight. Well, this week, I should say. So I won't be betting this fight because it's just, you just don't know until you see. 3-0 making his debut on like the biggest pay-per-view we're going to see in a while. A lot of pressure starting off the night for his team. But I do think this is going to be a 15-minute striking fight, and that's why I feel like he will get it done. So, I'm going to take Carlos. I'm going to take him by KO, TKO. Probably like 2nd round. And let's move on. Next fight. Next up, we got Tim Elliott taking on Jordan Espinoza. And man, first off, shout out to anybody who got on that fucking... I saw people tweeting about it all crazy. Like, there was some submission line at like plus 800 for Tim Elliott by submission. If you got on that, well played. Because getting into this fight, you're fighting Jordan Espinoza. And coming off that loss to David Dvorak, I won some money on that one. And I mean, you look at his other two losses, Alex Perez, Matt Schnell, both by submission. Two good guys, two good grapplers. I'm not going to beat him up too much over that. Has been submitted 2 other times too, so all the more reason to take that submission prop. But, Jordan Espinoza, I guess this is like a little bit of a... these guys know each other a little bit because Espinoza used to train over there with James Krause, and that's where Tim Elliott's doing his camps now. Tim Elliott... obviously got a good win in his last fight against the Ryan Benoit guy. Obviously a very winnable fight. We watched that. We had Tim in some parlays. But Brandon Royval, Askarov, Davison Figueredo, okay, that's the top of the top right there, man. On any given day, those are like the top 3 in the flyweight division. They both beat Mark De La Rosa. And then, Ben Nguyen got submitted. Okay, not the greatest loss, but not the worst. Ben Nguyen's pretty legit. Beat Louis Smoka. Lost to the fucking champ, Demetrius Johnson. Fucking Jose Benavidez. Ali Bagatinov. Fucking even Zach Makovsky. John Dodson. Come on, man. Jens Pulver. Come on. This dude's fought like everyone. Tim Elliott. Ton of experience. Fucking... cardio looks like it's getting better because it used to be good, but then you started to see him it was sub or bust, or he'd catch you or otherwise he'd get caught. I do feel like training with James Krause, good for him. Espinoza used to train with him. Apparently, they got a little bit of a personal beef going on, Espinoza and Elliott. Elliott's been calling for this fight for a while, so you would think maybe he knows something that makes him think that to be confident in this fight. And going into the fight, I feel like Espinoza, he's going to have more power. He's going to have the crisper punches. But I really do feel like after that first round or two, you're going to see Tim Elliott, he's just going to have the cardio advantage. He's going to have the experience, obviously. And he's going to have a grappling advantage. Obviously, if Espinoza is to get on top of Elliott, he could land some good ground and pound. But if Elliott can get on top of him, let alone get to a dominant position, take his back, I do feel like the submission is very live. And I don't know if I'd take it on a lot of the books that I see now, plus 375. I still think that's a pretty good bet. But, it's not that I think Espinoza doesn't have a good ground game. It's just, I just don't know I just don't think I like what I've seen of him off his back. And then, his takedown defense seems pretty legit, but and he's the more athletic, stronger guy out of him and Elliott. Like I said, he's gonna hit harder. But his striking is pretty basic, jab, jab, cross, cross, jab, cross, jab, jab, double jab, jab, cross. Elliott's so unorthodox, and you got to figure he's fought a lot of guys like this. Even if Espinoza has a lot of the physical advantages, Elliott's gonna he's just. This is a mental game too, and I mean, if he's put together a good camp with Krause, I want to see what he looks like on the scales. I do think he's a live dog, and obviously it's a very slight underdog, basically even. But I do, I like Elliott in this matchup, man. I obviously he hasn't been the most reliable guy, but I think if you play him, you probably take the sub prop because it's even, and I think this is about what the line should be. But if you're asking me who I pick, man, I guess, honestly, I gotta flip. No, I gotta flip a little bit. I do think probably the most likely outcome would be Espinoza by decision. Because I don't think he submits Elliott. But, and Elliott, if you're gonna finish him, you're better off trying to submit the guy. Dude's tough. But, man, it's going to get dicey. I feel like if you're going to bet, you take Elliott by submission. But it's just going to suck in the back of your mind knowing you missed out on that plus 700, plus 800. But, yeah. Man. God, this is it's tough, man. Because I feel like he's with this pressure. He's going to get Espinoza tired. But will he get him tired early enough to steal those second 2 rounds? Man, it's tough. I think overall probably got to lean Jordan Espinoza, man. Probably just land some decently hard shots. I think he'll take the first round, and the second round is going to be what decides it. Because I think Elliott will take the third round, unless it's just so like he's like clear that he lost the first 2, and then he's getting desperate, and then he's not like actually trying to win rounds. Then he loses the third. If it's even a competitive fight, I feel like Elliott wins the third round pretty easily. So I'm gonna take Espinoza by decision. I would not bet that. This is a step up for him, man. Tim Elliott, ton of experience, ton of fucking fight IQ. Even if you see him getting caught, submission defense might not be the greatest, but I don't think Espinoza is going to submit him. and I just feel like, man, Tim Elliott's definitely a live dog, but I think the line's exactly probably what I would put it. Literally, this is so you don't bet it if the line is exactly what you think it would be. -120, -125, that's like exactly what I would probably say. I might even say like -110, -115, so I'm going to stay off this fight unless I see some at the weigh-ins I like. But maybe a live maybe Espinoza comes out hot in that first round and beats him up pretty good. And you know Elliott's tough as shit. Espinoza might not have the greatest gas tank. Fucking Tim Elliott's gas tank looked like it's getting back to what it used to be. Maybe you can catch him in a sub late. So maybe a live betting spot, but not something I'm looking to bet on right now. And let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got Kai Kara-France taking on Rogério Bontorin. And Kai Kara-France, man, this is the... Like, usually you got to bet this guy like 3-1 if you want to bet him. And finally you're getting him at like a decent price. And I understand why. I mean, you're looking at Kai Kara-France's usual matchups, you know. Should he have been like fucking -280 or whatever the hell he was against like Brandon Royval? No. Tyson Nam, okay, yeah, more complete fighter. Just avoid that big right hand. You're probably going to win. Brandon Moreno, though. It's like Brandon Royval and Brandon Moreno posed a lot of problems with their volume. And even the Paiva fight, like, that could have went either way. And those were his toughest fights, obviously. But, you know, the volume is the thing. Because Kai Kara-France doesn't throw a lot of volume, man. And I do think, like, people talk about his power. They talk about his power. But, like, I don't think he's, like... the power's not really coming to fruition. He's not knocking these guys out. It's just that you think he's like this huge power puncher because he doesn't really throw a lot of volume. He's just like trying to land that crisp shot and just like searching for it. And when he doesn't land enough of them, you're just easily giving away rounds. The good thing for him in this fight is I do think, you know, I don't think fucking Rogério here throws a lot of, he doesn't typically throw a lot of volume himself. I mean, coming off that Ray Borg fight where he was taken down pretty easily. And obviously Ray Borg did miss weight for that, but, you know, and even in the Paiva fight, they kind of both fucked over Paiva, or not, you know, it's not their fault, but he was losing that fight, and then boom, cuts Paiva, fight gets stopped, pretty crazy. And then other than that, you know, he hasn't fought a lot of tough competition. And when you see him fight, it's like, okay, like his ground game's pretty legit, but is he going to be able to take Kai Kara-France down? Kai Kara-France, you can give him shit for a lot of things, but man, dude's got good takedown defense. And then on the feet, you got to figure Kai Kara-France, more complete striker, more versatile striker. And even though he doesn't throw a ton of volume, definitely is going to have the power advantage here. So I like the fact that, like, stylistically, I think this is a pretty good matchup for Kai. It's scary to bet the guy because he's let me and a lot of you guys down so many times, but I think this is a good spot to bet Kai, and there's not really a whole lot more that I feel like needs to be said on this fight. It's like, Bontorin needs to get him to the mat, but I just feel like his wrestling, 18 fights, I haven't really seen a great ability to get these guys to the mat, and he's fighting guys that are way lower level than him, and I just don't think his wrestling's all that great, and then you're fighting a guy with really good takedown defense, honestly. Kai Kara-France is not easy to take down, and while I do think his striking can be a little bit overrated, I do think it's better than Bontorin. So I feel like he will edge this decision out. It's going to be another decision by Kai Kara. Maybe you get a better line. You take Kai Kara by decision. I haven't seen what that line is, but probably not too much better because that's how his fights usually go. But maybe you get him at like even money for that. And I think that's a pretty good bet. I do think Kai Kara should be able to take this fight by decision, keep the fight on the feet. even though he doesn't throw a ton of volume, land the more impactful shots. And I don't think Bontorin's going to, like, double him up on volume by any means. So, should be a relatively, like, straightforward game plan for Kai Kara-France here. And I'm going to take him by decision. And I just realized that's, like, 4 decisions I've already called. So, sorry about that. Hopefully I'm wrong, right? Not really, though, because some of these I'm going to be betting on. Next up, we got a fucking another banger. We got Joseph Benavidez taking on Askarov. And, man, I'm a big fan of this Askarov guy here. Man, coming off a good win over Alexandre Pantoja. It was a close fight, but Pantoja is a top-level guy, and that's a really good win. And then, obviously, he beat Tim Elliott, too, speaking of him. And had the draw against Brandon Moreno, who, you know, top 3 flyweight on most people's, you know, in most people's books. And definitely mine. And before that, maybe not the, like, biggest names, but these are some tough guys, you know. Didn't have an easy regional scene by any means. And, hold on. Got that caught in mouth right now. But Askar's shown good grappling, you know. Like, he was out-grappling Pantoja in certain spots. And while I don't think his wrestling is, like, insanely good, it's pretty solid. And he mixes it up well, you know. His boxing's pretty legit. It's pretty clean. And he mixes it into his strikes. He's just like this new age MMA guy where he's just good everywhere. But he's fighting Joseph Benavidez, man. And we've gotten to this similar story a couple times on this card. You got a guy who's fought the champ Figueiredo twice, Jussier Formiga, Dustin Ortiz, Alex Perez, Sergio Pettis, Henry Cejudo, Zach Makovsky, Ali Bagatinov, John Moraga, Dustin Ortiz again, fucking Tim Elliott, Demetrius Johnson again, Formiga again, Ian McCall, Demetrius Johnson again, Eddie Wineland back when he was Eddie Wineland, Dominic Cruz twice, Miguel Torres. Like, this dude has literally fought everybody. He's been number 2 for so long. And, man, that experience counts for something. And I know he's coming off 2 brutal finishes in first and second round where he took a lot of damage. But, man, that's the champ. That's the hardest-hitting flyweight of all time. Unless you want to count fucking Lineker. But Lineker never made weight, so that doesn't count. You got the hardest-hitting flyweight of all time finished him twice. Okay, oh well. Benavidez loses title fights, but he doesn't lose a lot of these kind of fights. These are the fights that he wins. He wins these fights, and then he goes up and loses for the belt. The UFC would probably love Askar to come in here, even though obviously he's not a big name, and pick this up because maybe that could help him, you know, build up. But, man, Joey B has played the spoiler for these guys his whole career. This is what he does. And Askar needs to mix those takedowns in. It's not that I don't think he can stand with Joey B, but, like, man, I just feel like people are underestimating. Like, they're saying, Joey, oh, he's just no chin. Dude, it's Figueiredo, man. It's Figueiredo. Like, a dude can knock out anybody. It's not, he doesn't have no chin. It was just, Figueiredo's the better striker, and he cracks. So he was clipping him with big shots that would have knocked down anybody. Joey B is hard to take down. You want to know he's even better at than wrestling? Scrambling. He's the scramble god. So, man, he's hard to control. I don't know if Askar can take him down, just control him. And if not, this is going to be a close fight, man. This is going to be a really close fight. And the line is, you know, like the line says, it's close for a reason. But, man, I feel like it's dog or pass for me, man. I like Askar. And when I first saw this, I was like, oh, I really thought I was going to be on Askar's side. At least more confidently. But this is just like a pass for me, man. Like, if the line was higher, I would put a little something on Joey B. But because I just feel like this is such a step up for him. This is a step down for Joey B. And I mean, not a huge step down. I'm a believer in Askar, but dude, like, and Pantoja, that's a really good win. That showed like Askar is legit. But man, I feel like stylistically, like, if he can't take Joey B down, and maybe Joey B could even take him down, but even if he doesn't and just plays on the feet, it's gonna be close. And Joey's fought so many guys like this, man, his whole career. He doesn't lose these fights. So I get why everybody and their sister's on Askar this week. I just don't really, like, I can't confidently bet him against a guy who only loses title fights. So I'm going to take Joey, and I'm going to take him also, guess what, by decision. Holy shit. If I'm right, this is going to be a decent amount of decisions on this card. So let's move on to the next fight. I got Joey B by decision. I think he's going to get back on the horse. And fuck, the UFC's going to have to figure out what they're going to do with him because they can't put him in another title fight. But he's going to have to fight like one of these big, like one of these guys one away. I don't know, man. They have to figure that out. It's tough. Maybe he's going to fight like fucking Cody Garbrandt. Nah, they wouldn't do that. Alpha male guys. Moving on to the next fight, we got Kyler Phillips as an underdog against Yadong Song. And, man, I think everybody's, like, I've been seeing everybody really on Yadong lately. And I mean, obviously the line is showing it. But, I don't know, man. I feel like this is a pretty fucking close fight to pick. And, I mean, Kyler Phillips, he made me money recently. So maybe you could say I'm a little biased. But, in that Cameron Else fight. But, man, I like what I've seen from him so far. Like, obviously lost to Brad Katona on the Ultimate Fighter. It's not the greatest loss, but, and hasn't fought the greatest of competition. But I like the way this guy mixes it up. He's over at the MMA lab, like I talked about earlier. Good low kicks. Mixes it up well. The cardio looks, especially for a guy with under 10 fights, the cardio looks like it's pretty legit. And, good grappling, good takedowns, good jiu-jitsu, fucking good power in his hands. The thing is, he's fighting a guy who's going to have a size advantage on him. Yadong Song probably got the crisper striking, Definitely likes to brawl. Definitely can take a punch. And Yadong, the thing about him, though, is, man, you could argue that Marlon Vera fight and that Cody Stamann fight, that he lost those fights. And, I mean, he looked pretty good in those fights. I mean, for sure. He came out strong against Marlon. Habitual slow starter. And, he impressed me for sure. I thought he was going to lose that fight. I mean, I wasn't super confident, but I was definitely leaning Marlon. And, Marlon started off slow and fucking Song Yadong got out to work. And, I do think that, like, these wins, these are the last three fights, those are some good wins, or even the draw. Like, those are some good fights, I should say. Perez, Stamann, Vera, like, those are better than anybody Kyler Phillips has fought for sure. So this is going to be a step up for Kyler. It's just, if this was even money, I would have Song Yadong. But I do think the farther this creeps up, I mean, what's the line at right now? Let me see. Song Yadong is like minus 150, I think. And I just feel like, man, that might be a little bit of a stretch. If, obviously has the experience advantage, probably got the better, crisper strikes, but probably a little bit of the bigger guy. But so far we've seen, man, Kyler's wrestling's pretty legit. Kyler's jiu-jitsu's pretty legit. And it's enough to keep me off the fight. Let's just say that. I do think I got to take Song Yadong. I got to take him. I've been seeing people, like, thinking this fight's going to go to decision. I don't know, man. I feel like Song Yadong, I don't know. I think Song Yadong, either way, I think this fight can get finished easily. I'm going to take Song Yadong by knockout, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler Phillips could get him down, land some decent ground and pound, maybe latch up a submission, probably not submit him, but maybe some good ground and pound, and get him out of there that way. But Song Yadong's a tough dude, good prospect. Both of these guys are good prospects. I really like this fight. I think it could go either way. It's enough to keep me from making a bet, but I am going to lean Song Yadong. And getting into the real crazy fights, we got Dominic Cruz taking on Casey Kinney. And, man, Casey Kinney has won me money in 3 straight fights. Louis Smoka, Alatang, and Nathaniel Wood. And love this guy, man. You've heard me break him down so many times recently, I feel like. But dude's got great volume. Dude mixes his striking to his wrestling good. His wrestling and takedowns is good. He's got great kicks. He kicked the living shit out of Alatang and then fought like a couple weeks later and looked great against a huge prospect like Nathaniel Wood. I mean, I really like what I've seen from this guy so far. Like, I'm a big fan of Casey Kinney. Like I said, he just does everything good. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Wrestling's good. Mixes it up well. Good cardio, and definitely need to touch on that. But, man, he's fighting Dominic Cruz. And before we go over to Dom Cruz, biggest win, Nathaniel Wood. second biggest performance, I would even say fucking Merab in his one loss, or his second loss. That was a fucking competitive, good fight. He gave Merab like just a really tough fight. But going into this fight with Dom Cruz, like, yo, again, we got to get into this. Henry Cejudo, Cody Garbrandt, Uriah Faber, TJ Dillashaw. Okay, Mizugaki. Demetrius Johnson, Uriah Faber again. Jorgensen, Benavidez again. Ian McCall, Uriah Faber again. Like, those are some tough fights, man. Dominic Cruz, still, in my opinion, is the bantamweight GOAT until somebody steps up. I get TJ was coming close, but one, he's not there anymore. And two, at least for now. And two, the PEDs, that shit fucking makes a difference, man. And we'll never know what kind of full effect that had. So I already had Cruz as the number one. Dillashaw was creeping up on it, but also Cruz did beat him. I don't give a fuck what any of you guys say. I thought Cruz won the fight, even with his fucking destroyed plantar fasciitis. Cruz has fought the who's who, and he's dominated. He's got the fucking nickname the Dominator for a reason. And this is a step down. Like, he's coming off fucking Henry Cejudo and the Cody Garbrandt who won the title. So it's like, this is a step down. This is a step up for Casey Kinney. And I do feel like stylistically he's going to pose some problems for Kinney because, dude, you can say a lot, whatever you want about Cruz. His takedown defense hasn't gone anywhere. He's not going to be easy to take down. I don't think Kinney can take him down unless it was like he catches him with a scramble. Like, he's going to really have to catch him off guard or hurt him. I just don't see that happening. Yeah, I do think Casey Kinney's going to pose some problems with his volume. And obviously, like, he's coming into his own. He's on the upswing. Cruz on the downswing. It is what it is. But if you take out the takedowns and you got a 3-round striking fight, Dominic Cruz and Casey Kinney, man, like, I could see Cruz making him miss a good amount and staying away from the big shots and then just landing good volume and winning 2 of these rounds. I think Cruz is a very, very live underdog. And, man, I can't believe it because Casey Kinney has just been such a breadwinner for me, and I hate picking against him. But, dude, I honestly think I'm going to have to take another underdog, man. I think I'm going to have to take an underdog with Dominic Cruz by decision. I like Casey Kinney, and, man, if he can get this win, it's going to be fucking huge for his career. And, obviously, we don't know what kind of shape Cruz is in, but I'm going to go ahead and bank on the fact that Cruz, I don't think he would take such a risky fight with a low-name but tough-ass guy like Casey Kinney if he wasn't 100%. Maybe not 100%, but 90% even. Obviously, it's going to be tough to be 100%. About to be 36 with the amount, really like 40 with his injuries. Like, minimum. Like, dude has been through the ringer, to say the least. But I just feel like stylistically, man, this is going to be a very close fight. I think this fight's going to go to decision, and I would not be surprised if the old veteran pulls it off. So I'm going to go Dominic Cruz. I'm going to go Dominic Cruz by decision, and that's another underdog for us. Let's move on to Thiago Santos taking on Alexander Racket. Alexander Racket, man, really like what this guy has, man. Good striking offensively. I don't love his defensive striking. Seems a little bit hittable, but good power. Not crazy power, but good power. Enough power to have people respect his shots. Good kicks. Good low kicks. Like, loves to chop the legs, which I think could be a factor in this fight. And like we've seen with a couple fighters on this card. Good at mixing in his takedowns, man. He might not be like he might not be Glover Teixeira, like we saw in Thiago Santos, but like he's athletic, he's quick, he's in comparison to Glover and in comparison to a lot of 205ers, like Racket, he's just like an athlete, man. Like, he can mix it up. He's explosive. He's not explosive like Thiago Santos, but like I like Racket in the sense of fucking, like, he's versatile. He's got pretty good hands. He's got good kicks to the body, good kicks to the legs, pretty good wrestling. It's not outstanding wrestling, but it's good. And then his jiu-jitsu's good. He's got pretty good submissions. Typically they don't come to fruition, but you can see that, they're there. You see him set him up sometimes, and typically they just lead to him getting more ground and pound, and I don't think he's going to submit Thiago Santos by any means, but, I'm just saying, he's a versatile guy, And even though a lot of people see him as just like a bruiser, like Racket is good, man. He's a technical guy. The big flaw I have on him is that he is hittable, and he does have a little bit of that like tall man defense going on. And that's something you don't want to have against a guy like Thiago Santos. If you fight Thiago Santos, the game plan is take this motherfucker to the ground. And if you're not going to take him to the ground, you have to have superb fucking defense like John Jones. Stay on the outside and not let him touch you. I mean, obviously David Branch clipped him, but, I think if they run that back, it would go a lot differently. Gegard Mousasi, yeah, I mean, one of the fucking greatest middleweights of all time. And his middleweight career was a little dicey, but when he went up to 205, things definitely changed for him. And I just think that's, man, it's just if you don't take this guy down, he's always live to knock you out. And doesn't just have to bait right hands. He has power in both hands. He has power in his kicks. Great kicks. Really good kicks. Most of his knockouts come with his kicks, head kicks. And, yeah, I mean, I love Thiago Santos. How can you not? But you people forget, he's 37 with 2 destroyed knees. And you got a guy who loves throwing those low kicks. You got a guy with good grappling, good takedowns. I gotta lean Alexander Racket just because he has more ways to get it done. But, man, I don't know if I can bet him. Because Thiago Santos, man, he's just so live to clip. If you're going to take Santos, I think I won't say you got to because it's only a 3-round fight. But I do think if Santos wins, it's probably by knockout. And I don't think I'm crazy. I mean, obviously not crazy for saying that, but I'm just saying, I think if it goes to decision, Rakic should be winning the fights, should be throwing more volume, mixing. He should be able to get a couple takedowns at least. And I think he's a rightful favorite. But, man, Santos is always live to land a big bomb, especially on a guy with a little bit of that tall man defense, not the greatest striking defense. I could definitely see him clip him. But you got to think, Santos, he's got some holes, and Rakic a little bit more versatile. So I'm going to go Rakic. I'm going to go Rakic by decision again. It's just only 3 rounds. I mean, he could ground and pound him out. I don't think he'll finish him on the feet. He could ground and pound him out. But I think Santos will probably stay in there, and Rakic will get a decision. Maybe he gets a late ground and pound finish. But if he chops the legs, gets on top of him, lands some good shots, Santos is tired, maybe he gets him out of there. But I think he'll play this smart and get on top of him and just sap the fucking power from Santos because you don't want to stand on the feet with him. Last non-title fight of the night, we got Islam Makhachev taking on Drew Dober. And I've been seeing people make the comparisons, which are pretty funny, to the Khabib-Gaethje fight. Both obviously fight at the same camp, just a notch below the Khabib-Gaethje fight. And, I mean, it's pretty similar breakdown, man. Makhachev, underrated striking. His striking is good. He's got pretty versatile strikes. He's not super, you could say, he's a better striker than Khabib. A good strike is one that lands. And, Khabib mixes it up well. And obviously the threat of the takedown and the grappling is a large portion of it. But Makhachev, he has more versatile striking. But, I don't know if he's as, his defense is as sharp as Khabib's. And I don't know if he's as durable as Khabib. And obviously, I'm not just saying that because he got knocked out in the first round, his only loss. That can happen. But I don't know if he wears shots as well as Khabib. But, his striking, he doesn't go out there and just, it's the only thing he can do. And if the grappling doesn't work, he's just out of water. Fish out of water. But I do think he, in this fight, it's pretty simple, man. He's got to get Drew Dober to the mat. And Drew Dober's not terrible takedown defense, but he's shown that if you keep shooting on the guy, he typically will eventually resort a couple of those takedowns, and that's the path to victory. I mean, when you go down his fights, got submitted by Beneil Dariush, got submitted by Oliver Abu Mercier, got submitted by Escudero, and then had some lower level fights. But even in these fights, in the lower level regional fights, you've seen takedown defense, it's not the greatest. And you find a guy like Makhachev with a 90-something fucking takedown percentage, and he's averaging like 3-4 a fight, it's like, man, this guy is consistently going out there and hitting these takedowns at will, and he's fighting a guy who gives up takedowns, and Makhachev's striking is pretty legit, man. Like, he's got pretty good kicks for a guy out of fucking Dagestan who wants to fucking straight fucking wrestle fuck you if he gets his way. His striking and his kicks are not bad. And I mean, I don't think he wants to stay on the feet for too long with Drew Dober, who really, you can tell that training with Justin Gaethje, you can see it in his fights. You can see like he has a lot of power. He fucking comes forward. He loves that low kick. Training at elevation, so he's gonna have a good cardio. But overall, man, you gotta go Makhachev. I do think Makhachev will get it done. And holy shit, I didn't even realize this until I'm making the breakdown. I think this will go to decision too. Like, I don't think Makhachev's gonna get Drew Dober out of there. I mean, he could submit him. So don't go all in on decision. He could definitely get a submission, but I don't think he knocks him out. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go Makhachev by decision. Shit, the decision props are live this week. This is like a couple fucking cards ago when I was fucking banking on decisions. Next up, we got the first title fight of the night. We got Peter Yan taking on Aljamain Sterling. And Peter Yan, man, like, I get it. He's a great fighter. He should be getting a lot of the praise that he gets. But, if you go down his fights, got the title from Jose Aldo, got the title shot from Uriah Faber, who was the current Uriah Faber, not the old. And then, the Jimmy Rivera fight, which was probably like the most in their prime fighter he fought in his fucking rise to the title. Dude, he was losing both the first 2 rounds and then just got a knockdown with like 10 seconds left and stole the round. Obviously that counts and that's part of fighting and that means he won the fight. But I'm just saying, like, if you go off like who was winning more of the fight, Jimmy Rivera did. He was winning most of the fight. He just kept getting clipped. And I mean, hey, that's part of it. But, I mean, shit, man. Like, Aljamain Sterling, like, I mean, they're very different fighters, him and Jimmy Rivera, but I don't know. I mean, if Jimmy Rivera can box you up like that pretty decently, I mean, you got to think, like, there's some other guys in the division who might have some success, too. And, I mean, Aljamain Sterling's looked at as a grappler, but his striking's not bad. Coming out of Sarah Jiu-Jitsu, obviously, or Ray Longo and them. And, I mean, dude, look at this guy's resume. Corey Sandhagen obviously finished him in the first minute and a half. Pedro Munoz, Jimmy Rivera, Cody Stamann, Brett Johns. Lost to Marlon Moraes, but I do think that was, like, just some shit that can just happen, man, when you fight Marlon Moraes. It was a crazy, like, head kick where the knee hit him. It was just wild. But beat Renan Barão, too, obviously. Lost that split to Assunção. Lost the split to Caraway. Okay, that's experience. Like, I like this guy, man. I love Aljamain. Not just outside the cage, but I'm talking about... I like what he brings to the table, man. He's good everywhere. Great jiu-jitsu, great wrestling. And his striking's good, too. And, I really feel like he is durable. It's just the Marlon Moraes fight was just fucking... That shit can happen, man. Marlon Moraes, especially when that happened, just literally, like, so fucking... explosive and dangerous. There's one-shot power. But I just feel like Aljo, man, like, he's getting slept on a little bit. Obviously his line's super close, but like when anybody tells me who they got, it's always Peter. You would think this line would be even wider because everybody seems to be saying they got Peter Yan. But dude, I'm gonna be in the minority. I got Aljo. I think Aljo, like, man, it's a 5-round fight, and like, I do feel like he's pretty durable. Like, I feel like the Marlon fight was just an outlier, and I just feel like in this fight, like, he has more paths to victory, and I still haven't seen Peter Yan really get tested in that grappling. I haven't seen how he's going to look in the later rounds when he's fighting a grappler, somebody who can secure a couple takedowns on him, and I feel like if Aljo fights a good game plan, he could really win this fight. The line is close, obviously. It's where it should be, but I do think that Aljo, I mean, if you want to call him an underdog, he's a live underdog, and I just feel like, man, I got Aljo, man. I feel like there's a lot of ways to win this fight. I wouldn't bet a prop. I don't think he'll knock Yan out, but he could definitely submit him, and he could definitely win a decision. Maybe, I mean, he could get a TKO if Yan gasses in like the 4th or 5th, and he just overwhelms him. just maybe gets like a mount or, like gets him down to turtle and just smashes into him. You could definitely see a finish via TKO, but Jan's obviously shown a great chin and durability, and that wouldn't be the path I would most likely go with. But I'm gonna go Sterling, and I'm gonna go Sterling by probably honestly another fucking decision or a late submission, like a rear naked choke. Maybe, yeah, I mean, 4th, 5th round rear naked choke or a decision. I don't think I don't think he would come out here and try to knock the guy out early. That wouldn't be smart in the first couple of rounds. And even like I don't obviously just mean on the feet. I'm talking about even like really give him like some hard ground and pound shots, like trying to get him out of there. Not early in the fight. He's gonna want to keep that gas tank going because I think that pace and that cardio is gonna be the serious difference maker here. So I am gonna go Aljo. That's another underdog. I feel like I got like 4 or 5 underdogs on this card. I'm going to go Aljo, and I'm going to go by either late rear naked choke or decision. Next up, we got Amanda Nunes, and I'm not going to take a lot of time on this fight. We still got the main event. We're already an hour deep, so I got Amanda Nunes. I could go on and on about how this line is this and that, and I know it is wide. Like, I'm not betting this. I'm not even throwing this in any parlays, and I get it if you're just like, why go get a lottery ticket when you can fucking bet Megan Anderson? And if you're going to bet Megan Anderson, take her by KO, TKO. She's not going to win a 5-round decision over Amanda. I mean, Jesus, that would just be lit. I don't want to fucking... that just would be insane. I've been hearing the whole narrative, like, now's the time to beat Amanda. She just had her kid and this and that. But, dude, I just feel like she's a better boxer. She's more durable. She got better wrestling. She got better jiu-jitsu. She's better. If she gets on top of Megan, there's going to be big problems. She's probably got a better gas tank. She's got more experience. She's literally better in every category. So, if you're going Megan, it's, okay, she's a big girl. She's a true 145er. I mean, it's a tall girl. Amanda hasn't fought a girl with this height, this reach, even though she only got a 3-inch reach advantage. I'm assuming the leg reach is probably a decent amount longer. But, I got Amanda, man. I think she can win, but I would not take a prop in this. Because you just don't know. Maybe Amanda's going to come out here and just... I could definitely see her clipping her early, but I could also see, okay, this girl's tough. I'm winning, but she's sticking in there. I'm just going to fucking take this girl down a couple times and do what I did to Jermaine. So, I wouldn't take a prop. I got Amanda. I'm not betting it. If you're taking a shot on Megan, I would do by KO, by TKO, so you can get, instead of plus 750, like plus 1,400 and double up, because do you really see her winning 3 rounds? No, she's going to win. She's either going to fucking catch her with some big shot and knock her out, or, which, Jesus, that's crazy to imagine, or, like, Amanda, maybe she didn't come in as motivated like some people are saying. Maybe she gets a little tired and Megan overwhelms her late and finishes her. Either way, it's going to be KO, TKO. I would be absolutely shocked if she won any other way. I would be shocked if that happened too, but if she submitted her or won a decision, that would be shocking. So, that's going to be it. I got Amanda Nunes, and I'm probably going to go, if I had to pick, I'd go Amanda Nunes by KO, TKO, but I'm not going to play a prop. Moving into the main event, we got Jan Blockowitz taking on Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya going for the double champ. I think he's going to be like the 5th person to do it if he can win. And he's coming in like minus 250, and I get it. Jan Blockowitz going to be the fucking underdog. In his last 12 fights, it's like 10 of the times he's been the underdog. So he's been stealing a lot of y'all's money when you consider all these greens. But, yeah, I mean, going into this fight, like, I get it. Jan Blockowitz, decent wrestling, not great. Decent jiu-jitsu, not great. Just, you've heard it 1,000 times. I've been doing a running joke on Twitch when I'm streaming all week. When they say Polish power, you got to take a dab or a shot, because every fucking preview and promo, it's like, the Polish power. And not just from him, just like everybody talking about the fight. And I get it. He's got big power. He's got big power in his kicks to the body, to the head. You saw Dominic Reyes' fucking ribs in that last fight. It was literally hard to watch. Him just throwing that left body kick, hitting that same spot on Reyes' side over and over and over and over. And then he's got those big hooks. Just comes forward, man. Lumbering, comes forward, big shots, throws 100 into every single shot. But you got to say, like, Luke Rockhold, okay, not the most durable, best striking defense, and he was coming up a weight class. Souza passed it, hasn't looked amazing lately. Corey Anderson, not the most durable either. Fucking hasn't looked great lately. Fucking obviously got knocked out by Santos, but you're not gonna, it happens. Anybody can get knocked out by Santos, and I like Blockowitz. He's good. Like I said, he comes forward. He's got one plan, man. Come forward and fuck you up. Like, he's not like the most and I don't mean this. He's not smart. He seems like a smart guy, but he doesn't have some cerebral ton of plan B or different game plan. Bro, he's gonna come forward. He's gonna throw big shots and fucking try to knock you out, and that's what he does. And Izzy though, he's just like this new age striker, man. Like I just feel like everybody's like, oh, if Jan gets him down, do you really see Jan coming out here and shooting a lot of takedowns? It's just not what he does. He'll mix them in here and there, but I don't know if he's going to want to risk it in a 5-round fight, risk getting stuffed and get that energy sapped, and he's going to need all that energy to go to be able to go 5 rounds with Izzy. And Izzy just has so many weapons, man. I mean, you're just seeing him get better every fight. Those low kicks, I think, are going to be huge in this fight to slow Jan down and to make him a little bit more hesitant and just walking him down, walking forward. It's what he did to Costa, and it's similar in a way of said like two guys with a lot of power that want to come forward, that have a very one-minded approach, and I think it's going to be similar. He's going to chop him down. He's going to have to slow the pace. He's not going to try to get Jan. And maybe if Jan just bum rushes him in the first round, he could knock him out. But otherwise, Izzy's not trying to finish him early. He's going to fucking be cerebral. He's going to slow down. He's going to slow. Those first couple rounds are going to be inside low kick, right hand to the body, jab, inside low kick, oblique, fucking calf kick. Like, he's literally just going to be fucking one-shotting him from the outside, using his reach, using his fucking head movement, footwork, elusiveness, speed, and just chip away at him for a round and a half, 2 rounds. By the time that 3rd round comes and Jan's down 2 rounds, even if he were to win one of the rounds, knowing that he's starting to slow down a little bit, power, like, I just feel like Izzy's going to be able to open up a little bit more. We're going to see, does he open up like he opened up against Costa, or is he going to stay real safe like he did against Yoel? I think Izzy will probably get a late finish in this fight. Jan's the type, he's going to go out on his shield, man. I think he'll keep coming forward. That leg's going to get chopped up. He's going to be eating some clean counters, and eventually he's going to walk into something, probably get knocked down. I don't think he'll start Jan. I don't think he'll put him to sleep, but I think you're going to get, the body can only take so much. Once he gets a little tired, he starts eating these shots, I think he'll have to go down. He'll turtle up. Izzy will land some fucking shots, some follow-up shots after the knockdown, and the ref will step in. I just feel like he has too many weapons on the feet, like too high fight IQ. I just feel like, man, he's fought enough guys, even if he's only 20-0 in MMA, he has over 100 fights, and you got to figure how many of those 100 were guys like Jan, man. Big power, 100% in every shot, come forward. Like, he's seen it a million times. And obviously, Jan could land a big punch and knock him out, and I would not be shocked. I'd be like, yep, that's what happens. You move up a weight class, you fight a big power puncher, you can get knocked out, obviously. That's stating the obvious. But if you're asking me, gun to my head, who's going to win the fight? Izzy's going to win the fight. He's going to low kick him. He's going to counter him. He's going to use his movement, his superior footwork and speed. And by the time the 3rd round comes, it's going to be a different Jan. And he's going to be marked up. That leg's going to be battered. He's going to eat some big body kicks. The hands are going to start coming down. Then those head kicks are going to start flying. That big check right hand, check left hand, depending on whatever stance, because Izzy will go fire fucking heavy crosses from both stances. Obviously has a great jab. Those teeps up the middle. Like, just so many weapons, man. I think Izzy becomes the double champ and tops off a fucking great card with a nice knockout in probably the 3rd or 4th round. So, to go 21-0, and then we see, does he try to defend? Does he go down and rematch Robert Whittaker? Probably not. I think he'll drop the middleweight belt and try to fucking fight a bigger name. I mean, I love Robert Whittaker. I think that's a risky fight, and he's not going to want to cut that weight. Once you go up, man, it's tough to want to go back down. So, I got Izzy. I got Izzy by knockout, but I'm not sleeping on Jan. Man, I get the people betting on Jan. It's like this dude just goes out there and fights for your money, and he can knock out anybody. And, man, you got to think, like, is he getting a little too cocky? Like, is he biting off a little bit more than he should chew? Just going right up, fucking talking about, we'll see if he really weighs in at 193. But he's talking about, I'm going to weigh in low 190s, 193, this and that. Like, hey, okay. Like, big risk, big reward. I do think he's the better, more technical fighter, but that's not always the person who wins in MMA. It's a fight. So, I'm going to go Izzy. I'm going to go late knockout, and I think this is going to be a great card, and I hope we all win money. And that's the end of this breakdown, man. I appreciate you guys. It went long because this is 15 fights on the card, 3 fucking title fights, and like 8 big title-implicating fights. So, couldn't go too short on them. Sorry about that. Have been trying to make these go a little shorter, but make sure you leave a like on the video, leave a comment, let me know what your picks are for the fights, your bets are for the fights. Definitely love going back and forth with you. Tweet me if you want. My Twitter will be in the caption. My Twitch is in the caption. I'm live every day. I'm live for all the fight cards, so come through, hang out. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So hope you win money. Good luck. I fucked my thumb up, but I'm about to go train. What's really like my hand. Everybody was telling me it was broken, but I'm hoping it's just a sprain or it's like the muscle. So if you've been seeing me fucking do weird shit with my hand, I'm sorry about that. Appreciate y'all. Shit, I'll see you for the next one, and I will be live Saturday for the fights. I'm going to be doing my favorite bets. Forgot to say that. Quick little 5-minute video just showing off all my bets before the fights, probably like Friday night. So be on the lookout for that. I'm trying to separate them so I can watch the weigh-ins, this and that. If you follow me on Twitch or Twitter, sometimes you'll know my bets a little earlier. I always DM people back and forth about bets, especially the people I've met on here that know a thing or two. Love fucking just talking about the fights and shit. That's literally something I do all day long. So hit me up. I appreciate y'all and shit. Enjoy the fights. It's gonna be fun. Peace.